Please tell us your name and roll number for this exam.
So my name is Shibasis-Aarohan, and for this examination, my roll number is 400743.
Okay. So we'll start with your optionals, crimes and tort. So can you tell me in tort, what you mean by tort? What are the ingredients or essentials of a tort?
So tort means a civil damage, which definitely means suppose something which is based on your which is based on either on the part of your based on your property or especially on your reputations. It might be either reputation is true that defamation is a case of a criminal, but it's also a part of tort also. So based on this, a civil which creating a compensation or civil liability, that is tort.
Okay. So can you tell me what is the difference between strict liability and absolute liability?
So strict liability and absolute are almost similarly same, but the only difference or thread line of difference is that strict liability has an exception, has three or more exceptions, while absolute liability does not have any exception. In either way, at all costs, though you do not have any fault in that, you will need to pay as you are engaged in hazardous activities. So, for example, strict liability has exceptions like man any third party has created when the thing has not escaped the other party who has incurred the damages as himself has entered into that domain. So there are other exceptions, but absolute liability does not have any exceptions.
Okay. Um, what is the difference between proximate damage and remote damage?
So remote damage means damage which could not be seen. Remote damage, which I believe, sir, remote damage is the damages which are so remote that so disconnected to the fact that no person can see that this damage could have been foreseen. That is a part of remote damage. Proximate damage means subsidiary or linked damages. So this means that proximate causes are even if not the direct cause itself of the damage, but this damage must be connected to to that reason for the same damage. That is proximate damage.
Okay. So what do you mean by vicarious liability? And especially with respect to vicarious liability of the state for the action of its employees. Tell us something about that.
So vicarious liability when a person is responsible for the act of the other, especially when a person who has hired a servant or a agent, he should be liable for the job for the liability incurred by that agent because he has authorized that part of the agent. Suppose in an example, in a taxi driver, if I have hired a taxi driver, and in the course of employment, he rams his vehicle negligently. So I am liable for the acts of his negligence because I am the one who has hired him for that purpose. And similarly, vicarious liability of the state is that state would be liable for its agents and employees. So in the case of uh, in a similar case for the 1950s, when a company vehicle, British company vehicle, accidentally rammed into a steel pipe. I'm sorry, sir. When due to the steel pipe ramming the road of a busy street, when the vehicle of a company rammed in the shop of a person, that person claimed the liability of the state. The state first denied it, but the court has said that as it is a part of your company and this person who was acting on behalf of your company, then you should be liable for that. So state has a vicariously should and is liable for the actions of his agents, for his employees, and of his officers.
Okay. Now coming to IPC,
Yes, sir.
can you tell me what are the types of punishments prescribed under the IPC?
So it's imprisonment for life. It's simple imprisonment, rigorous imprisonment. It's forfeiture of property. It's fine.
Okay. Death penalty.
Yes, sir. Death penalty is another one, sir.
Okay. So what are the guidelines of the Supreme Court with respect to death penalty?
So guidelines are the rarest of the rare cases in Machi Singh cases and Bachchan Singh cases. Uh, First of all, then the courts need to see the balance that whether this case comes under the purview of rare of the rare cases, whether the actions of the person who has done that has so imminently dangerous that he has no regret of doing that. And secondly, whether it comes under the purview that without except for the rare except for the death punishment, no punishment could definitely suffice this for the crime of heinous crime that person has committed.
Okay. So what are the different types of aggravated theft under IPC?
So aggravated theft is section 380, which speaks about theft in dwelling houses, which is punished for 7 years of imprisonment. And then when a theft is committed by an agent or the servant, that is also aggravated punishment, kind of punishment in 382, I believe. So.
Mhm. Okay. So under the Indian Penal Code, how is the offense of sedition dealt, and what are the penal provisions for sedition?
Section 124A speaks about sedition law. It's there's anything which is so imminently dangerous that it spreads or levitates any hate speech or a figure of hate before the present government, that would be punished with imprisonment, sir. I don't remember the imprisonment.
Okay. What is the difference between fraud and criminal breach of trust?
So criminal breach of trust is when any person or any master has provided or has offered or given anything person or entrusted something to any his servant or any other person, and in turn that person due to which contract or which liability that person has given him that property, and deviating that entrustment or that contract, he misappropriates it, that is criminal breach of trust. So fraud is not, I believe fraud is not an offense in IPC. uh, that is a cheating, I would say, sir. So it is cheating is defined under section 415 when you intentionally provokes or incite another person to do this, though you will know that this thing is fraud, is false. That is cheating, sir.
Okay. What do you mean by abatement? What are the ingredients of abatement?
So abatements when you incite or instigate any person or criminally conspire with him or aid with him for the commission of any offense. That is in abatement, sir. There must be an abater which incites, either he must have incited him or have aid in criminal conspiracy or have aid to commission for the offense. In section 114, sir. 114, yes, sir. 10. I'm sorry, sir. I don't remember section. I believe it's 107, sir.
Okay. Actually, ଯେତେବେଳେ କିଛି ଗୋଟେ question ପଚରା ହବ, the
Yes.
concept of the question is more important. ସେ ଜିନିଷଟା କ'ଣ ସେଇଟା
Yes.
କହିଦେବେ. If you are very sure with the section or the rule or the order, ତାହେଲେ ଆପଣ ତାପରେ କହିପାରିବେ. Otherwise, don't get stuck in the section. Just tell them the meaning of that and the content of that. ସେତିକି
Yes.
ଯଦି କହିଦଉଛନ୍ତି, it is sufficient. କିଛି ଆଉ ଯଦି ମୋର ମନେ ଅଛି ପୁରା 100% section ଟା କି rule ଟା order ଟା ଯାହାବି ସେଇଟା ମୁଁ କହିଦେଇ ପାରିବି. But
Yes.
ତା ପାଇଁ ଏତେ pause ନବା କି କିଛି ଭାବିବା ଏତେ ଦରକାର ନାହିଁ. If you
Yes, sir.
remember, it is fine. If you don't remember, at least tell the content. Concept koidaka season, sir.
Yes,
Okay,
sir. Yes, sir.
right. So, what do you mean by trifling acts in IPC?
So, trifling act means any act which does not require the intervention of the law. It's a daily regular affair which should not be meddled with the incursions of law, because that will, by that, the daily life of the person will be hampered. So,
Okay. So let us go to your next optional, that is law property, right?
yes, sir.
Okay. What is the, tell me something about law of adverse possession.
So, every person has the right to enter and to enjoy the possession of his property. But when another person comes and acquires the property or creates physical possession over the property, and the person who is the rightful owner does not raise any voice, and that other person who has occupied the property without any authority uh, openly enjoys, peaceably enjoys the property in the knowledge of that person who is the rightful owner of the property, after a completion of 12 years in private property and in 30 years in the case of government property, acquires the right to name the property in his own name. That is private possession.
Okay. So okay. For this government land, suppose
Yes.
I have occupied a government land. Generally, for how many years it has to be under my possession so that I can claim the title?
So government laws, it's 30 years, more than 30 years,
More than 30 years. Okay. And other than private land?
for 12 years.
Okay. So, what do you mean by the concept of lease pendants? And what
So
are the
I'm sorry,
what are
sir, for
the
interrupting.
what are the um, exceptions to the concept of lease pendants?
So lease pendants means litigation pending. So what the intent of that section, what that intent of the lease pendants is, while the any pendants case is being pending in a court, nothing new should be introduced. So it says that whenever a case is instituted between two parties, nothing new shall be instituted, which means that no person shall sell his property or transfer his property while the pending litigation pends in the court. And the exception is when the matter is not, when the matter in which the person has filed and persons have filed the suit or a judicial proceeding is not related to the suit, or when the matter is collusive in nature, that two persons have interested in the property have colluded with each other so that they will defeat the interest of the third party. That in that case it is the exception of dispendence, or when a court authorizes for the sale.
Okay. So what do you mean by main profit?
So mean profit means whenever any person who is not entitled to a immovable property occupies the property and enjoys the property until he has been dispossessed by the rightful owner, from the date of his possession to date of his disposition, the profit he has earned from his immovable property is the mean profits, which will be will be given back to the rightful owner.
Okay. What are the properties under the Transfer of Property Act that cannot be transferred?
So property which are first is the I believe it's the space successionist, which means chance of getting heir apparent. Then it's the right of easement, then which is related to the dominant heritage, it attached to dominant heritage. Then the pensions, then the uh, salaries of the officials, then the mere right to sue, then mere right of re-entry, then the immovable right of occupancy is cannot be transferred.
Okay. Your other optional is personal law, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let us start with Muslim law. So can you tell me the types of divorce under Muslim law which can be initiated by the wife?
So wife can initiate the divorce in matter of kula, which means that the wife will give the openly say that I want to divorce you, and it is the generally it is the husband's authority whether he want to divorce it or not. And there is another mubarat which says that uh, when the groom and the bridegroom, when the groom and the bride are no longer interested in staying with each other, they can divorce themselves with mutual consent. That is mubarat. And there is in the Dissolution of Muslim Marriage Act, there is also provisions which is under section when the girl is below the 15 age of 15 years, she can repudiate her marriage before attaining puberty. And when the in the Dissolution of Muslim Marriage Act itself, when they said that the Muslim woman has not been maintained by the husband for 2 years, or if she has been of her husband has been punished for a heinous offense for more than 7 years, or if she's or the husband is letting her lead an immoral life, then the wife can initiate divorce.
Okay, fine. So is there what is the position of Muslim law in case of adoption, and what are the alternatives that it provides?
So I don't remember. I never studied that. So I'm sorry.
Okay, it is not actually recognized in Muslim law. They have the concept of acknowledgement.
Yes,
Okay,
there is some
adoption.
legitimacy. They do not consider legitimacy, sir.
Okay,
Adoption
so
legitimacy, they don't consider. Yes, sir.
yes. So coming to Hindu law,
Yes, sir.
what are the grounds of divorce under the Hindu Marriage Act?
So, cruelty, which includes physical and mental cruelty. There is desertion. There is when the person is suffering from venereal diseases. When what was that? When there is mutual consent for divorce, and there is uh, when the husband has renounced from the world, or I'm sorry, sir. That's all I can remember for now. I'm sorry, sir. That's
Oh,
the thing I can remember right now, sir.
okay, that's fine. Do you know the exact number that is given?
So section
Number
number.
of grounds. No, no, not section. Number of grounds on which, under Hindu Marriage Act, a divorce can be sought.
No, sir. I don't remember, sir.
Okay, fine. Now suppose there is a Hindu daughter-in-law. Can she
Yes.
claim maintenance from her father-in-law? Is there any provision under the Hindu laws?
Yes, section 19 speaks about it. Daughter-in-law, if the husband has not left her with any sufficient means, or she does not have any separate means to self-sustain herself, then the father-in-law can maintain her daughter.
Okay, fine. So, what is the difference between maintenance and alimony?
So maintenance, I believe, sir, it is a money or compensation which is paid for to self-sustain that woman or the wife. So alimony means, sir, a compensation amount which has given for the separation or any other purposes, sir. It's a bulk amount, sir.
Okay. So, under the Hindu law, can you tell me what are the essentials of a valid adoption?
So valid adoption essentials, sir, the person must be able to give adoption. The adopt adopt giving family, the person who is taking adoption should be able to take adoption. The child who is about to be given in adoption should be eligible to be given in adoption. Then while taking adoption, the person should be, when taking adoption, when a girl is taking adoption of a boy below the age of 15 years, there must be a gap of 21 years between them. Similarly, in the case of a boy, of a person, man taking a adoption of a girl, there must be a gap of 21 years in between them, and there must be valid consent given by the adoptive family. So that is.
Okay, fine. Suppose there is an unmarried Hindu male, okay,
Yes.
unmarried Hindu male, and he wants to adopt a Hindu girl. Is that
Yes.
permissible under Hindu law?
So I believe there is no bar except for 21 years of bar. I believe there is no other bar to adopt. So
Okay,
if
suppose there
he's
is a
if
Hindu
he's not married.
couple.
Yes.
Okay, suppose there is a Hindu couple who are
Yes.
having biological children, right? One boy and one girl. Biological
Yes.
children they are having. Now they
Yes.
want to adopt another boy. Okay, is that
Yes.
allowed under Hindu law?
Sir, I do not know, sir.
Okay, just you can go through that part.
Yes.
Okay, right. Fine. So that will be the end of the interview. And
Yes.
overall comment is that most of the answers you have given correctly and to the point.
Yes.
So flow of speech is also okay. Eye contact, all other things that in physical interview I can assess that.
Yes, sir.
So if I have to mark you, you will get around 80 marks out of 100. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
yeah, go through those points which you are unable to answer,
Yes, sir.
especially your optional subjects. And next interview we will focus on your opinion-based questions. Okay.
Yes.
And recent Supreme Court judgments. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Fine.
Thank
Thank you.